Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wildin' in the stand. For laid-back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gon' be our year. We're here, drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring, yeah.
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds in South Park, I guess. All right, welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. Unfortunately, the Kings lose tonight, 134-125 to the Utah Jazz. De'Aaron Fox puts up 41 points. Rashaan Holmes gets ejected. And Jordan Clarkson sets a new career high with 45 points. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to smash that like button. And if you would like to join the Royal family with Calvin, Vinny, and I, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well.
Yes, shout out to Fred. Like Mike says, $800 from Red Hawk tonight. Feels like a win in my book. Maybe that's a little precursor. Good luck for Barry and I going to Vegas.
I hope so.
Week.
If you're listening via your favorite podcast platform, we would appreciate a 5-star rating. And if you would like to be a part of the show, you can always join us live after every single game here on YouTube. We will be right back with your Kings Nightcap. We're here, we're drinking beers, and we're talking about your Sacramento Kings.
Mountains are blue.
What's up, everybody in the chat? I see Fred, Mike, Gothan, Dennis. I still don't know who you are. I want to tank for Jabari Smith and get him, please. But if you ever feel like sharing your name.
Hopefully you're still watching. I didn't want you to feel left out or anything. It's just I don't know your name. I'll say what's up to you all the time if I know your real name.
That's true. So Domantas Sabonis is out tonight due to personal reasons. Vinny, you're killing us, man. I heard that his girl had a baby, so maybe that's the reason he's out.
Congratulations.
Shout out to Fred. Thank you, Fred, for the beer money. We greatly appreciate it. We see Davion Jones start tonight alongside Trey Lyles. Richaun Holmes is back for a little bit. Mo Harkless is available, and Jeremy Lamb is available as well. The Jazz have the highest offensive rating in the league. They show it tonight, putting up 134, Calvin.
Yeah, they're just a really, really balanced team with a ton of very, very good shooters, and they run a ton of pick and roll, and then they have two really good big men who just clean the boards all day. So they're a tough team for sure.
And no Gobert today.
Yeah, no Gobert, but Hassan Whiteside 21 rebounds today.
Yep.
So it almost didn't matter that Gobert was
It was
playing.
personal.
It was personal.
It was definitely personal.
But hey, I mean, I don't watch these games, for the wins or the losses anymore, or like I don't go into a game expecting a win or feeling bad if it's a loss or anything. At this point, I'm just watching to watch De'Aaron Fox play because the dude he's incredible. Anybody who still thinks that Sabonis is the best player on this team, get your argument ready. Come at me here. I'm ready for you all night because the guy is absolutely on fire right now.
Yeah, he started out so hot in this game, 4 or 5 from three-point range and 20 points in the first quarter. The Kings were looking great until a couple Utah Jazz runs. We saw, or what's it? Not Drew Holiday. I keep trying to call him Drew Holiday. We see Justin Holiday leave at halftime due to a non-COVID related illness, which is kind of weird to me, Calvin, considering 2 games ago we played the Knicks and Mitchell Robinson left at halftime due to a non-COVID related illness. Maybe I'm looking into this too much. It seems like nobody has COVID anymore and everything is a non-COVID related illness.
Yeah, it just is amazing to me still that you have to label it now as a non-COVID related illness.
Yeah, Mike, glad you watched the show. We shout you guys all out because you guys are all part of the royal family here. Gothan, man, I'm really sorry that happened to you. That is crazy. Let's turn positive here because Calvin and I are leaving for Vegas tomorrow night. So we do not want to have the same thing happen to us. I have COVID when I have a work event. Yeah, that's nice. I only have COVID when I have jury duty.
There's so many ways to get out of jury duty. I guess COVID's a pretty easy one, though.
Oh, man. So as we mentioned, Jordan Clarkson has a career-high 45 points in this game. He was shooting lights out. I think 7 threes for him tonight. And, you know, a lot of these were bad shots. Like, I was listening to Alvin Gentry after the game in his post-game presser, and he's like, these are bad shots. These are the shots we want him to take, and he just ended up making them. It's unfortunate. This just seems to happen to the Kings on a daily basis. You know, it's always like the other guys. We heard about Rudy Gobert not playing tonight, and I was pretty happy. I'm like, okay, no Rudy Gobert. This is looking good for the Kings. You know, we heard some news about Brandon Ingram being out, some of these other injuries. We're like, okay, maybe the Kings do have a chance here. They get destroyed by Jordan Clarkson.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Jazz are still a really good team, even if Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley aren't going to play, as you know, crazy as that sounds, because those are two really, really good players. There's a reason why this team was first in the Western Conference last year. Yeah, they've got a solid team. They've played together for a number of years now, and they have a really, really good system in place that they can all follow. It doesn't matter if, you know, some of these guys are missing the game or not, because they still play the same way. You know, even after trading Joel Ingles, as we like to call him on the show,
systems matter.
It doesn't matter because they just plug and play these guys who can still shoot. And, you know, I've said it before, but the Kings, when they're 100% healthy and have everyone available, they have to play a really good game in order to win. That's for most teams, not good teams versus bad teams. It's just most teams. So now you add all this into effect where you're losing guys left and right. You lose Sabonis before the game. You lose Justin Holiday at halftime. Even though Holiday, you know, hasn't played really, really well since being traded to the Kings, he's still an integral part of what they're trying to do defensively. He's a starter. So you stack all that up on top of it. Now the Kings have to play that much better just to stay in the game, and give them credit because they did, you know, continue to claw their way back into this thing. But they just, against a team with that much firepower, you run out of ammunition eventually.
Yeah, and I see him here in your keys to the game. Utah's very good at shooting the three ball. And the Kings have
They're
been
very good, and they shoot it a lot.
And the Kings have been bad at defending the three. As I was mentioning in that post-game presser, here is a quote from Alvin Gentry. If we could get everyone on the same page for one night, we might end up with a win. That sounds like a frustrated coach to me, Cal.
Well, how could you not be frustrated? You know, I mean, nobody likes to lose, especially when you're in the professional. Your job is to win, right? Like, that's literally what the job is. It's to win games. So anytime you lose that much, everybody's frustrated. The players, the fans, the coaches, the trainers, the girlfriends, the wives who have to, you know, console these guys when they come home at night. Everybody's frustrated. Yep,
that's true. And we saw it boil over for Rashaan, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But I want to give a shout out to Cole, to Ivan, to Jeff. Welcome in, guys. Welcome. Fred, Crystal Star was the name of the slot that you went on. That's pretty awesome. I'm not a slot guy myself. I'll probably end up playing Pai Gow and some blackjack. But what was I going to talk about here? Let's jump here into the box score, Cal.
Well, the box score is really only about one guy if you're the Kings, and that's De'Aaron Fox. 41 minutes, 41 points, 11 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 3 rebounds, another near 50% shooting game for De'Aaron Fox. I want to give a quick shout out to my man Will Zimmerly. I hope I'm saying that right. On Twitter, you can follow him at Will_Zimmerly. That's Zimmerle. Goes by Will Z Stats. The dude does great work. I'm not sure if he is a Kings fan or he just follows the Kings closely because he tweets specifically statistics about the Kings a lot. But the guy does a lot of research for these stats, and I just want to give a quick shout out to him today because After the game, he tweeted that Fox is the 5th player this season to score at least 41 points and dish out at least 11 assists. The other people who have done that this season, Darius Garland, Trae Young, John Morant, Jokic. Pretty good company to be in if you're De'Aaron Fox.
And I think I heard a stat about De'Aaron Fox having averaging over 20 points a game I think he tied the record for most consecutive games or something like that. I'll have to look that up.
Interesting. Well, I know he has done it for the most consecutive games since Weber, but Weber did it 18 straight games.
Yeah.
Fox hasn't reached that yet, but he very well could pass that by the end of the season.
What's up, McCamey?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know if we need to go too much into the rest of the box score. Davion Mitchell had 14 and Metu had 12 off the bench. I really do hope, not to go off on a huge tangent here, but I really do hope that the Kings bring Metu back next year. I know he's been very up and down like a lot of players this season, but his minutes have also reflected that. And I still think this guy I love his skill set, and I think he's on the verge of being not a star in this league, but a really good role player. I think he's going to continue to improve, and I just hope the Kings keep him around next year.
I think he is signed for next year, but I'm just going to double check here real quick. One thing that really popped out to me in the stats, only 7 turnovers for the Kings tonight. Mm-hmm. No King had more than 2 turnovers, and that's pretty amazing. De'Aaron Fox, 41 points, 11 assists, only 2 turnovers.
Yep.
Let me see here. I don't know why I'm having problems pulling this up. Metu.
While you're doing that, we can look at the Jazz box score because that's a lot more exciting. 25 for Donovan Mitchell, 26 for Bojan Bogdanovic, and 45 off the bench for Jordan Clarkson. As you mentioned, it's a career high for him. 15 of 21, 7 of 13 from 3. The guy was en fuego. And Hassan Whiteside, 21 rebounds, stepping in for Rudy Gobert to go along with 12 points, double-double.
Yeah, great game for him. So Metu is signed for next year, but it's not guaranteed. So the Kings can cut him if they need to.
They could trade him also. Like, I'm just saying, I hope that it's in their plans to bring him back next year.
Yeah. What's up, Sean? I know it is another loss for the Kings, but isn't that what you guys wanted at this point, right? Like, the Kings are playing better. De'Aaron Fox is playing really well, and they're getting a better draft pick, I guess, right? I don't know. We're going to talk about that in the second section. Anything else that really just stuck out to you in this game, Calvin? Like, the Kings started out really hot in this game.
They did.
They scored 45 points in the first quarter. And, having your best player score 20 of those definitely helps you.
Oh, yeah.
But that's their biggest quarter of this entire game.
Well, it's like I have said, over the past couple of shows now that they've played these really good teams. I mean, the Kings played a very good game all around. 125 points is nothing to sneeze at. They've been scoring, very, very well, but they have to play so great of a game all around. They have to play so much better than what they are at this point in order to win games. So you get out to that great start, and that's all good and everything, but like a heavyweight fight or something like that, you just keep – the other team keeps coming back with these body shots, 3 here, 3 there, offensive rebound, 3 here. Yep. And over the course of the game, it just wears you down. And then you get into the fourth quarter, De'Aaron Fox is already playing huge minutes. He's doing everything he can. They don't have anything else to give. The other team tightens up their defense, and that's how you see these runs that end up putting the nail in the coffin for the Kings.
Yeah. What up, Brian? Good to see you here. Did you see Ethan or Will at the game tonight? They said they were going. I did not see them anywhere.
Did not see either of them.
That would have been a lot of fun. I heard that at the Utah arena, they stopped selling beer earlier than in other arenas. Is that true? I've never been there.
I have never been there either. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that was true, but I don't know for sure.
Because, at Golden One, we can't go back after the third quarter, right?
Yeah.
Like, where we go into the Lexus Lounge, and they're like,
places.
I went in there because I had to go to the bathroom and I had my beer. And they're like, once you bring your beer in, you can't bring it back out. And I was like, okay, can you watch my beer? And I just like put it on the ground and then went pee and came out and grabbed my beer and went back to my seat. How do you guys feel about Trey Lyles? And do you see him staying with us into next season, Calvin?
Well, I like Trey Lyles. I would love for him to come off the bench for this team.
$2.6 million team option for next season.
Yeah, which is not a big deal at all, in my opinion. And
he's 26.
He plays a nice game. Like, the Kings don't have any other power forward on this team, didn't have one all season long that anybody was purposely doubling in the post.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he commands that respect, whether or not he's a great scorer or not. The guy has a really solid all-around game. He knows how to score. He's a bigger body down there. He can shoot pretty well from outside. So, yeah, I would like him to stay on this team. I don't want him to be the starter next year. And that's the thing for me is, you know, how does this team go about the power forward position in the offseason? Are they going to upgrade it? And what does that mean for the guys that fall behind that, like Chimezie Metu and Trey Lyles, for example? What are you going to do with these other guys if you are able to bring in, you know, one of these stars?
Yeah, building out the starting lineup is first. That's key. And then bringing back some of these other guys. I would really like to see Davion Jones coming back. I really would. He started tonight.
I would like to see him come back as well.
Only played 25 minutes, but he is the rim protector that I said that the Kings need. Mm-hmm. You see that block he had on Hassan Whiteside? Like, Hassan didn't even know what to think. He was just like, oh, there goes the ball. Like, I love that. I want to see him do that a little bit more. But, you know, he's a free agent at the end of the season. And as you mentioned, you know, whatever happens, figuring out the 4, figuring out the 2 is the most important, figuring out the coach, and then you kind of build out from there. But I'd love to bring some of these guys back. Like, this Kings team is deep, and it has a lot of potential, but the starters have to play better, and they just need a better system overall. Like, you look at the Jazz, they can just plug and play guys. Like, there's a bunch of guys on the Jazz that are capable of going for 30 at any given time. And so when you have a system to where you can just like, okay, we're running the plays for Jordan Clarkson tonight. We're going to get him open. He's going to score 45 points. Like, the system is so important.
It is. It is. I mean, the Kings, say what you want about their style of play and system and coaching and all that, or at least like offensive game plan. They've been fairly consistent over the course of the whole year. I mean, I don't think they've been outside the top 12 in scoring all year. They were in the top 6 for most of this, or a good portion of the season. Mm-hmm. They've been really high in offensive rating as well, very high in points in the paint all season. So there is a system, and on most nights they score enough points to win games.
Yeah,
they don't give up few enough points is the problem.
Yeah, and Davion Jones was actually one of only 3 Kings tonight that were plus in the plus-minus. I know you're not a big plus-minus fan, but plus 10 for him. The other 2 is Metu plus 6 and Jeremy Lamb plus 4. Mm-hmm. What do you think about Rashaan Holmes tonight? I know it was his first game back from a personal leave. He played 1 game after the back injury. 23 minutes for him tonight, 3 of 8 from the field. We saw him hit that push shot, and then he gets ejected at the end of the third quarter for arguing with the referee. Very frustrated with some of the calls. I've been frustrated with these calls. It's weird. Maybe it's just losing that compiles this, but now I feel like every game I'm looking at it, and I'm like, the refs fucked up that call. That was not right. That should have gone this way. And, you know, we don't try and blame it on that stuff, but maybe it's just losing that just starts to compile, but it seemed to affect him tonight.
Well, yeah, like I said earlier, you know, everybody's really frustrated. When you lose this much, you get really frustrated. So even, you know, calls that you might not think would get somebody going too much, any little thing kind of, you know, everything is amplified now because you're in no man's land here. The season is over, but you still have these last 13 games to play. Mm-hmm. Everybody's frustrated, whether it's with how the season has gone overall, the fact that their role has changed on this team, like Rashaan Holmes, which, you know, I'm sure he wouldn't say openly that he's frustrated by that, But how could you not be as a person, you know?
And when you miss a bunch of games due to injuries from getting hit in the face.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I do think that any team that loses a lot, they will point to the officiating, and you'll see, like you said, you will see calls. They'll look more blatant to you because you already know your team probably doesn't stand much of a chance. So it's like you got to help me help the team in that way, right?
That, and also at the same time, like if I'm a referee and I'm like questionable about which way the call is going to go, I'm like, the Kings suck. Like, I'm not going to call it in their favor. Like, the Jazz are a much better team. They have much better players. Like, if it's me deciding, oh, is that ball off of, Davion Mitchell, or is it off of, one of Jeremy Lamb? I'm going to be like, oh, it was off of Lamb. Davion Mitchell's not going to let that happen. He's much too good of a player to do that. It's just those little biases that kind of happen, you know? And I think that just keeps affecting the Kings. So Kings got to get better, and then you're going to get better calls. Like, superstars get superstar calls, right? The Kings don't have a superstar.
Yeah.
And it was unfortunate that Sabonis missed this game. It's kind of weird timing, right, that he missed, like, the last game due to suspension and this game due to personal reasons. I was trying to look into that, and I'm like, the personal reasons excuse is catching on here. We saw Rashaan use it. Now Sabonis is using it, but I heard that he had a baby this morning, so that is reason enough for me. All right, Calvin, let's jump here into your keys of the game.
Well, key number 1 was rebound. Utah is 5th in the NBA in rebounds. Then you hear Rudy Gobert's not going to play, and you're like, oh, okay, that's good, right? Well, they've got a guy named Hassan Whiteside who steps in off the bench and has 21 rebounds, and it doesn't matter. Utah plus 11 on the boards, 10 offensive rebounds, which has really been an Achilles heel and a curse for Sacramento for a while. Guard the 3. Jordan Clarkson, man. They did a pretty good job on everybody else, but Bogdanovich was also 4 for 10. Jazz shoot 39% as a team from 3, 16 of 41. The Kings actually shoot a shade better at 39.4%, but again, you can't just score. You gotta get stops as well.
And rebounds.
And then number 3 was pick and roll defense. It's more just guarding the screens in general. Utah is number 1 in the NBA in screen assists. They love to run everybody. Conley, Davion Mitchell, Jordan Clarkson, Bogdanovich, all these guys, they run them off a ton of screens, and that's how they all get open looks from 3. And it's hard when all of these guys can shoot, right? So you have multiple screen actions happening. You're worried about the guy coming around the double screen and one of the other guys just pops into the corner for a wide open 3. It's really, really hard to defend.
Yeah.
So I can't really say that they hit on any of these goals tonight, and you give up 134 points. That's why.
Yeah, you mentioned the shooting percentages, and it's pretty interesting because if I were to tell you that the Kings only turned the ball over 7 times, they shot 85% from the line, 40% from three-point range, and 50% from the field, you would have been like, oh, the Kings probably won this game. But they allowed almost 56% from the field.
See, I probably wouldn't say that or I would guess that they didn't win that game because I've seen them have a ton of games like this season where they shot close to or above 50% from the field. Maybe not this well from 3. I mean, this 40% is one of their better ones. But they have had plenty of games where they shoot 36, 37% from 3, and they've knocked down 75 to 80% of their free throws. They've had a lot of those games this year.
I was trying to throw some compliments, and you're throwing shade right now. But what I was trying to get to...
It's not shade. It's the truth. It's the truth.
What I was trying to get to is the Kings shot really well from free throw range tonight, and I was really happy with that. 18 of 21. I know Davion Mitchell, unfortunately, continues to struggle from the line. I think he's like 53 or 56% from the line this season.
Yeah.
Missed both of his free throw attempts.
Yep.
Other than that, Metu's the only one that missed a free throw. Everybody else was money from the free throw line, including 6 of 6 for De'Aaron Fox. I'm really liking this new De'Aaron that we've seen. He is playing lights out. He just looks like a different guy out there.
Yeah, the only thing for him to do now is to do this through the course of an entire season. But even even without or with his start to play this year, like he really only had one really bad month, and that was October. Everything after that has been average to superior at this point.
I think he's 6th in scoring for the month of March right now. He probably went up after tonight.
Well, that's the other. He's scoring over 30 points a game, I think, this month.
Yeah.
But
it's a little early.
There's a bunch of other players that have been absolutely just on a tear. I mean, Jason Tatum is averaging over 40 points a game. Jokic has been putting up 40-point games like nothing.
LeBron just had 50.
De'Aaron Fox is scoring like a champ, but there's a ton of other guys who are putting in work right now.
Yeah, they really are. So on the subject of Davion Mitchell, 21 minutes, 6 of 12 from the field. As I mentioned, he missed both of his free throw attempts, but 2 of 5 from three-point range, 14 points for him. No steals, no blocks in this game. What'd you dislike from Davion?
It's always the same for me. The guy plays really solid defense. I think he's a smart player overall. He just is very sporadic with his scoring. I mean, he has some games where he comes in and he knocks down his first couple shots, and you can immediately tell this is going to be a good game for him.
Yeah.
But if he comes out, misses those first 2, 3, depending on the types of shots that he's taking, there are some games where he doesn't even look or try to get to the basket, and that's where I know he's just not going to be effective. Because for me, he is so good at getting to the basket and creating a shot for himself. That's how he needs to get himself comfortable within every game.
Yeah, but also, if you shoot better from the line, you're going to want to get to the basket more, right? Like, I feel like that's got to be in the back of his head where it's like...
Well, that's a huge problem then, though, because getting to the basket is one of his best strengths.
Yeah.
By far.
He needs to work on
I agree he needs to balance out if you're going to get to the basket that easily, you should expect to be on the foul line a bunch, and you've got to convert those. But just because you're not hitting your free throws doesn't mean you can't drive to the basket if it's one of the best things that you do.
Oh, yeah. I agree 100%. His shooting form doesn't look bad at all. Do you have any tips or anything you think he needs to do to get better at shooting free throws? You think it's all mental at this point?
Free throws is one of those things that's it's just so difficult to figure out why some guys are bad free throw shooters. I don't see anything wrong with his form.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of people who've had way worse forms than him that have shot much better at the free throw line. So I don't really know what it is. It's something that he's struggled on for a long time. Without being in the gym with him and kind of talking to him to get maybe like his mental, what's going through your mind when you're at the free throw line, I can't really make any suggestions as far as form goes. I wouldn't change much. He has a very short and concise form. When you're at the free throw line, what I don't like is all these guys who have all the extracurricular stuff. The ball's going behind their back and they do one dribble outside. You want as little wasted motion as possible at the free throw line. And he does that. So I really don't know. Like,
I would say he needs to get to his happy place.
Hey, there you go. Maybe he does.
He needs to imagine his happy place, just like Happy Gilmore, and he needs to get there and make the shot. I get it. You guys are hating on Gentry, and, I don't think that Gentry is the right coach for this team. I hope that he's not the coach next year. But, guys, this is not his fault. The dude took over a sinking ship, and, having a sinking ship is one thing, but also having guys that don't get along on the sinking ship, that can't even work together to bail the water out, he was set up to lose, man. It's not his fault. It's not his fault at all.
Yeah, I think there's at least something to be said about, after the trade deadline, everybody that watches this team on a regular basis all believed that the team improved roster-wise, talent-wise.
Yeah.
So you want to see a correlation when it comes to wins and losses with that.
You do.
So, I understand the complaint there. But I agree with you. Alvin Gentry, to me, it didn't matter what he did this year. The guy is not going to be the head coach of this team next season anyway. So Yeah, he definitely has blame. I'm not saying he's void of all blame.
And Ivan's correct here. He does have a championship ring with the Golden State Warriors. I know that's not really him,
not a fair
but
comparison
still,
whatsoever. But
he's been on winning teams.
He's been on a ton of winning teams. He's been the head coach on winning teams. So we just can all agree that he's not the right person for this job. So the last month of the season here has been pretty rough to watch because you'd like to see them win. But
Sean, I'm gonna have to check that out. Reed says we need a defensive coach hired in more trades. I still want to keep Barnes, but everyone else can be traded. Barnes needs to stay because he's stuck with us so many years of losing. I don't know if I agree with you here, Reed. Don't want to trade Sabonis or Fox at this point, and I would be more open to trading Barnes. Trading Barnes is not on the top of my list, but bringing more talent to the team is on the top of my list. And if that takes Harrison Barnes or Richaun Holmes or one of these other guys, I'm doing it. Because Fox is the best player, Sabonis is the second best player, and they need more help. And you're not going to get more help without giving up good players. I mean, that's just straight up. That we get back to the whole Halliburton Sabonis trade debate where it's like everybody wants to trade shit for gold, and it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. You got to trade good players to get good players or even better players. Thanks, Reed. We appreciate you too, man. We do. We appreciate you guys all watching. All right, Calvin, anything else you want to talk about this game tonight? We talked a little bit about Rashaan Holmes, Metu, Mitchell. We could talk about DiVincenzo. I was not happy with his performance tonight. Only 3 points. He only played 17 minutes, which is not a lot for him, especially considering Holiday came out at halftime and DiVincenzo started that second half. I thought that they maybe would go with him. He only took 4 shots tonight, which is not a lot for Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
3 assists for him, 3 rebounds. I would have liked to see a little bit more out of him.
Oh, yeah, you definitely needed him to step up today, given the fact that, Holiday wasn't coming back and they didn't have Sabonis. They needed a lot of people to step up today. They needed Harrison Barnes to score more than 18 probably in order to win this game.
Yeah.
Trey Lyles had a decent game, but
Sass says Sabonis is the best player. I'll let you take that one.
I mean, De'Aaron's game speaks for himself, bro. Like, I don't really feel like I have to say much anymore.
It's not a knock on Sabonis saying that De'Aaron Fox is the best player on this team. It's not a knock on Sabonis at all.
De'Aaron almost single-handedly kept them in this game against one of the best teams in the league. So it's and I'll say this: it's a lot easier to be considered, or it's a lot harder to be considered one of the top 10 point guards in the league than it is to be considered one of the top 10 centers in the league. It's a lot harder.
Yeah. Sabonis is the best player. Where's your argument, man?
Agree to disagree, man.
Come on. Where's your argument? Give us something to work with here. I think Sabonis is a more decorated player, but we talked about it on the Royal Report on Friday, which if you guys want to tune into that, you can watch what we talked about there. But basically, basketball rewards size. It just does. It's just the way the game works. If you're not as tall, you need to have more skill to be able to be on the court. So point guards, in my opinion, if I'm just going to take a generalization here, are always going to be more talented than a center or a power forward. A good point guard versus a good center or a good power forward. But size is hard to get. You can't teach size. Size is natural. But De'Aaron Fox has a ton more skill and a lot more talent than Sabonis.
And he's outplayed Sabonis since the trade, too.
Yeah.
So.
But that's not a knock on him at all. It's really not. Really not at all. DiVincenzo is still in Gentry's doghouse. Calvin Sean wants to know, does Fox's shooting form look different?
It doesn't look too much different to me. I think he's worked a lot on quickening his release since he came into the league. But I feel like he's he's already years into that work. So you can tell that his form is more concise, and his release is quicker. He still doesn't shoot it, it more effectively. Like,
yeah,
he's had a good 2 games in a row here, but the progression from year to year has not been what you want it to be.
Yeah, my biggest thing with Fox starting out the season was I felt like his form was fine. It was all the same. It was just every shot was coming up short. And I feel like that is either
Sabonis is not a better defender. Just because you're tall and have long arms doesn't make you a better defender.
So Fox is he's either like not as tired now, he's more conditioned, he's just more prepared. I did see a couple shots short tonight, but for the most part, his shots are money, and that is the main difference. Is it just seems like he has his legs now, and he didn't have that to start the season out. Whatever that is. Ray wants to start Holmes at the power forward. I was actually thinking about that today, Ray. I was like, I might consider throwing him out there just because I think that the season is over for the Kings, and Rashawn's locked up long term. Sabonis is locked up long term. What's it going to hurt to throw him out there and see if they can work together?
It's not going to hurt anything. I don't think it'll work on the court, but that's fine. It's the same thing as playing Davion Jones next to Sabonis. We talked about that a few games ago.
Yeah.
It takes Sabonis away from where he's most effective, which is in the post, because you don't play 2 guys in the post together anymore. That's not how the NBA works.
Yep, I agree. All right, Calvin, you ready to move on here?
Let's do it.
All right, everybody. If you need to break the seal, here is your chance. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll dive a little bit deeper into your Sacramento Kings with Around the Crown. What's up, everybody? We're back. This is Around the Crown. We're talking all things Sacramento Kings and beyond. Join the Royal family by hitting that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, you might as well hit up that like button. Also want to remind you guys, we do have super chats enabled. So if you would like to buy Calvin and I a beer or 2, feel free to send us a super chat. We would greatly appreciate it. All right, Calvin. So watching this game tonight, all I could think about was Spida and Swipa on the same team. We've heard about all this drama as far as Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert and them possibly not getting along. If I were the Jazz, it's a no-brainer. I'm keeping Spida over touch everything guy. But if I'm the Kings, I'm looking to add talent this offseason. We've talked about Bradley Beal. We talked about long shots like Zion and some of these other guys, Pascal Siakam. If you're the Kings, what are you willing to give up for a guy like Spida? Do you think he would fit on this team? I want to hear your thoughts here.
My thoughts?
Your thoughts.
I wasn't sure if you were asking the chat.
Oh, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts as well.
Well, my thoughts are who wouldn't want to have Donovan Mitchell on their team. I'm just going to squash this bug right now, though. They're not getting him.
No?
No. The Jazz, first of all, would be one of the dumbest moves I could think of for them to give up Donovan Mitchell. I mean, I don't know who they'd get back, from a potential trade, but
what if the Kings had pick number 1?
No.
No?
No. I'm not going to get anybody at pick number 1 that's as good as Donovan Mitchell.
You're not, but if he doesn't want to be on the team.
Well, I'd rather trade Rudy Gobert. I would go to Donovan Mitchell and I'd say, look, we want to do everything that we can to make you happy.
Yep.
You want Rudy Gobert gone? He's gone. You want us to try to get this player? I'm going to get him. Donovan Mitchell is everything to that team. I mean, Rudy Gobert is very valuable too, but Donovan Mitchell is everything to that team.
Yeah, he is.
There's no way I would try to get rid of him if I was Utah. Now, if you're looking at from Sacramento's perspective, of course they want him, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to hang up the phone immediately if De'Aaron Fox is not involved in this trade.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Who else would you want from this Kings team if you're the Jazz, keeping in mind that you're giving up Donovan Mitchell?
I mean, if the Kings have the number 1 pick or top 3 pick, if I'm Sacramento, I'm offering Rashaan or Harrison Barnes, Davion Mitchell, this year's first round pick, and probably 1 or 2 more first round picks.
Why would the Jazz do that trade? They've already got Gobert and Whiteside.
Yep.
What do they need with Holmes? The number 1 pick, they're not going to get anybody that great. Like a generational talent's not available in this draft, right? Or the type of person that you want with the number 1 pick. This is a win-ready team also. This is like a championship or bust team.
But are you going to get more from another team is what I'm asking.
Probably.
If he wants to move on and he doesn't want to be there.
If Donovan Mitchell's really available, I guarantee you get more than that package from the Kings.
Okay.
From some other team.
Okay.
Guarantee it.
Spida is Donovan Mitchell. I want to tank for Jabari Smith. Get him, please. Rudy Gobert. Yeah, Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert.
Gobert.
Mr. Touch the Microphones. Man, I couldn't think of like instant karma being like worse for any event ever than that, right? Where it's like he's messing around, touches them all, and it's like, oh, he shut down the entire NBA. That is wild. Rudy Gay is Spider? No, he is not. All right, Calvin, let's talk here about the draft. Vinny, can you show my screen here?
Yeah, everybody in the chat is talking about the draft, so I think
we can talk about the draft.
We need to talk about the draft.
All right, as you guys know, favorite website of all time, Tankathon. This is actually my screensaver. Let's take a look here at mock drafts, and we can just real quick, if you want to look here at the standings, nothing's changed. Kings are still in 13th, 24-45 on the season. You know, they have to lose quite a few games to drop below the Thunder, which is probably not going to happen. And they got to win a few games to pass the Spurs, which is probably not going to happen. Shout out to Greg Popovich. Yep. I know he just broke the record.
Congratulations.
But back here to the draft lottery. Let's sim it here and see what happens. So, this is not good. Kings drop 2 spots to the 8th. This is one of the worst case scenarios for the Kings. You know, a few weeks ago on the Royal Report, we broke down the percentages. I think it was like 9% at pick number 1, 9.2 at pick number 2, 9.4 at pick number 3. But, you know, the problem is when you're the 5th or 6th worst team in the league, is there still is that draft lottery. So unless the teams that are below you in the standings win the lottery, you're getting a worse pick than you thought you were supposed to get, unless you win the lottery or the teams below you win the lottery. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. I know the Rockets got number 1, but they got leapfrogged by a couple other teams here. So they're coming in at number 8. Oh, you guys can't even see that here. They're coming in number 8 at Johnny Davis. What are your thoughts on this, Cal? Shooting guard of the future?
I'm not so sure about that. I mean, if they fall this low in the draft, they're not going to get anybody that I think is really going to change much for them next season. They might end up getting a good player that could be good, in a couple of years or 3 years, whatever the case may be. But it would be a disappointment for them because this offseason is all about how to turn this team into a playoff team, right? Mm-hmm. And if they fall out of the top 6, I don't think they end up getting a player that really changes anything for them next year. Okay.
So you think they're going to trade the pick then?
I expect them to trade the pick no matter what it is.
Even if it's number 1?
I do. I expect them to try to trade the pick no matter what.
Okay. You think the best available strategy is still there, or they reach a point where they're like, we're looking for a shooting guard or a power forward?
I mean, that's really hard to say, because, well, first of all, unless they fall into the top 3, I don't know if best available even works at that point because all the top big guys are going to be, well, the best big men in this draft are going to be gone after number 3. So after that, it's all guards and wings anyway. So I guess it is basically best available, who you think is the best wing player available at whatever pick it is you're making there. But yeah, I do. No matter what the Kings draft pick is this year, I expect Monty McNair to try to trade it.
I definitely think the pick will be traded, and it's just because I think that they were not trying to lose this season, and I think they're going to do whatever they can to not lose next season. If the Kings don't make the playoffs next season, there are going to be massive changes. Massive changes. I don't know if De'Aaron Fox will make it through that, but if they miss the playoffs and it's not like a freak injury to Sabonis or Fox or one of these other guys that they're able to add to the team, there are going to be massive changes. So I expect the Kings to swing for the fences this offseason. I expect them to trade the pick, do whatever they can to bring in more talent to this team. And, guys, I think we're going to the playoffs next season. Knock on wood.
I wish we had a reel right now of how many times Barry said that.
Right. Sass is still trying to argue with you about Sabonis being the best player.
That's fine, man. Bring it.
He says, best argument is Sabonis would average a triple-double if he was the number 1 option.
I'm not sure that that's guaranteed, but just because you average a triple-double, Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double for 2 consecutive seasons. And there aren't a lot of people who think he's one of the better players in the league right now.
Yeah, who's the better player, Michael Jordan or Oscar Robertson? Because the Big O has a lot of triple-doubles.
It's tough. Well, it's tough. Anytime you take 2 of the 10 greatest players in NBA history and try to say which one's better, it becomes a lot harder.
Come on, you're taking Jordan.
I'm just saying it becomes a lot harder when you're matching up two players like that.
What's up, Key Kings? Good to see you here. Did you watch Lance Woods after the game? And he's like, Jordan, Clarkson, they put the name on the wrong...
Oscar Robertson won an MVP as well, Sass.
They put the name on the wrong side of the Jordan. He was looking like Michael Jordan out there tonight, making all these shots. He's pretty funny, man. I don't know how Lance Woods does it. He comes with so much energy, even when the Kings are getting worked by 30 or 40.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Robertson. Yes, Westbrook did win an MVP.
Yeah, I think you guys got to agree to disagree. Maybe we could take this bet into next season. Maybe you guys should make a bet on next season.
Well, a bet on what though? Who averages better statistics? That doesn't make you the better player. So,
I mean, I'm open to.
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. To a certain degree, yes, if one person averages 20 points a game and another guy averages 5, there's a big disparity there.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about Sabonis averages 22 points a game and Fox averages 19. That's not a big enough difference for me.
Yeah, I wish the first pick were enough for Beal, but you're probably going to have to throw 2 more picks in there, and probably Davion Mitchell and Holmes or Barnes, one of these salary guys as well. It would be a lot to get Beal.
Wow, Ray's picking Oscar over Michael.
Oh, that's because Ray's a Kings
wild.
fan.
Pretty wild, man. Oscar Robertson is a great player, but
Much nicer
better than
person.
Michael Jordan.
Much nicer person.
That you know. Have you ever met Oscar Robertson?
No, but I haven't met Michael Jordan either. But
The show on HBO is claiming that Kareem's an asshole too.
did you see it? Did you finally watch it?
I haven't watched it.
If you guys have a chance, make sure you guys check out that new Lake show on HBO. It is hilarious. It's really funny. Speaking of which, I think the second episode just came out, huh? Maybe. We'll have to check that out.
I have no idea.
I think it comes out on Friday, so I think it did come out yesterday. Anyways, back to this thing. So if the Kings were to land like 1, 2, 3, who's your number 1 pick here in the draft? If you're the Kings, and if you're not trading the pick, or are you just drafting best available so that you can trade?
Right. So if you had asked me this question a week ago, or a month, or 2 months ago, I probably would have said Jabari Smith. But I'm changing my pick now. I've recently watched a bunch of Duke play. I would take Paolo Banchero. First of all, I didn't realize how big this dude is.
Yeah, he's
6'10".
huge.
6'10", like 270 pounds or something.
Yep.
He can handle the ball. He can shoot the ball. He can play power forward. I think he's more NBA ready than Jabari Smith is. Jabari Smith is going to be a really good player. I like that dude a lot.
Yeah.
But if I had number 1, I would be going back and forth a lot. But number 2, number 3, easily I'm taking Banchero if he's available.
Does Chet work with Sabonis?
I think he does work with Sabonis, but here's the thing about Chet. Again, I think he's going to be a good player.
I'm looking at 4.8 blocks a game.
Yeah, so here's the thing about that, though. Gonzaga plays good teams, don't get me wrong, but their conference schedule is middle of the road at best. St. Mary's is a good team. Outside of that, they play no one.
Yeah.
So these guys, they have inflated stats like that for some reasons because of the level of competition that they're playing. I don't want to downplay it too much. They're a great team. They've got great players. But here's the thing for me about Chet. A guy that's that big, that long, who is very skilled, but he plays from the outside in. Like, he's not a traditional post-up guy. He can post people up in college. It's not going to be the same in the pros.
Yeah.
He is going to be a good player, but he's going to be more of a developmental project than I think people expect. He's not a number 2 pick that's going to come in and blow the league open right away, I think.
Okay.
It's going to take a number of years. So you can argue that that's still a good route to go, but if you do that pick, it shows me that as the Kings, they're not trying to accelerate their level of play into a winning team, into a playoff team. They're still playing the long game.
I just love the defense, man. I think this team really needs a rim protector. I'm looking at Keegan Murray here, 2.3 blocks a game.
I love Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
I would definitely take him if I was in the 6 to 8 range. He would be my pick. I like AJ Griffin too for his 3-and-D shooting, but again, that's another complementary piece. That's not a guy that really changes things right away for you. Keegan Murray has scoring and star potential around him.
Yeah, and guys, we're just looking at these.
too.
We're just looking at this draft right now, but all these are going to change. Like, March Madness is huge. I remember this time, De'Aaron Fox was, I think, 13th or 14th on the board. Then he ends up blowing up Lonzo Ball in the tournament. Goes to the Kings at pick number 5. So a lot of these are definitely going to be moving here. I agree with you, Charlie.
I get it. I agree with everybody in here. They're a little shell-shocked about drafting a Duke power forward with potentially the number 2 overall pick.
Yep.
Duke produces a lot of really good players.
We've had
there's a one-off.
two number 2 overall picks in the past few years. And Jabari Parker And
well, they didn't draft Ja'Marr
I know, but
Chase.
I'm just saying, like, I get it. I get it.
I'm just saying, Duke has some good players. You can keep your faith in Duke producing good talent.
Yeah, it's just whether the Kings can make it work. But if you guys have somebody that we haven't talked about that you really like, let us know in the chat or down below in the comments. We'd be happy to talk about them or given our thoughts. We are leaving tomorrow night to go.
We'll be in
to
Vegas where they will be playing games. We're not going to be in attendance at any of those games.
Maybe.
I'd much rather watch at the sportsbook, dude.
Okay.
It's so much fun.
Maybe one day of each.
So much fun.
Maybe one day of each.
Yeah,
just for the experience.
That's
I think
true.
I'm going to bring a GoPro, so maybe we can take some
Coach
footage
K's
there.
not gone yet, man. He's still got the tournament.
Yeah. But, yeah, so we're leaving tomorrow night. We're taking the red eye into Vegas. We're going to be there Monday through Friday. We're going to do 2 post games, so make sure you guys check that out. And we're just going to be having a fun time in Vegas. Friday, I'm going to Kings Celtics in Sacramento, so make sure you guys come check me out for that. And then Saturday, I will be there for farewell to Arco. And then I'll be back here in Maui on Sunday. Excited for this Kings-Pacers game.
Yeah.
I got that circled on my calendar. I'm really excited.
Oh, I think a lot of people do.
I'm really
Key
excited.
Kings, I'm with you on Keegan Murray there. His play in the Big Ten tournament towards the end of the season, and if Iowa is able to make any type of run in the NCAA tournament, I expect him to go up on people's draft boards as well, for sure.
Yeah.
He's had an amazing season. It really, really has.
Yes, we are going to Vegas. And Dennis, I mean, it happens, man. Go look at every single draft. There's always guys that are like, we should have taken Kawhi Leonard, number 2. He fell. There's always going to be stuff like that. Zion was, in my mind, clear number 1 pick. There was no question about it. I know you were a big Ja Morant fan, but
I would have taken Ja.
you would have taken Zion.
I would have taken Ja.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Got to put your money where your mouth is.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what team I am. If I already had a starting
Point guard.
a backcourt
Yeah.
set, then yeah, I'd take Zion. But
yeah, we're going to Sacramento, or I'm going to Sacramento Friday, Saturday, but we will be
couldn't get it off of work.
Vegas Monday through Friday. And then the week after, we're going to Arizona. So lots more fun there.
If the Kings had the 3rd pick, I would take Banchero first, assuming that he's still available. If not, I would definitely think about Keegan Murray there.
I like him a lot. All right, guys, it's break time again. But when we come back, we're going to take a look at the Kings' next week of basketball with Kings Crusade. Welcome to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. The Kings continue their crusade to get the number 1 pick, I guess, at this point. Next up is the Chicago Bulls. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you hit that like button down below, and please consider subscribing to the channel. If you guys want us to have Lance Woods on the show, we'd be happy to have him. Just make sure you guys at him on Twitter and tag us as well. If you guys all gang up on him, maybe we can get him here on the show and bring some energy here.
I do like baseball. Played baseball for a long time.
I'm actually hating baseball right now because those guys wouldn't refund us for our freaking spring training tickets.
So we were supposed to go to, we are going to Scottsdale, Arizona for a bachelor party in a couple of weeks. We were going to see a Giants-Brewers game, but of course the lockout canceled that game. Now they're rescheduling it. We're not going to be there when it gets rescheduled, and they won't refund us for it.
Yeah, I hate baseball right now.
But I still like baseball.
And the A's traded their pitcher today? Sucks.
Bruh.
All right, Calvin. So next up is the Chicago Bulls. Calvin, what are your keys to the game? And I do have to say, the Bulls are looking pretty healthy now.
They're getting back some major pieces, but those guys haven't played in a long time, so it'll take some of them a little while to get comfortable again. But this team, just like the Jazz, they're still a really good team, even without those guys.
We only lose the teams, Calvin, when they're missing their best player, okay? Or top player.
That's true. That's true. Well, I think Levine and DeRozan are both playing in this game, so
Kings have a
you're
good
saying
shot.
there's a chance, I guess. So number one, the Bulls have been one of the best shooting teams in the league all year long. So again, guarding the three is going to be very important in this game. The Bulls are second in the NBA in percentage from three at 37%. They are number one in the league in corner three percentage. They shoot it at 44% almost from the corner. So scramble defense, rotating, it's going to be very important finding those shooters in the corner.
And we saw the number one corner shooting player tonight in Bogdanovic.
Yes, and Harrison Barnes is very high up there as well. But this is the number one corner shooting team, so they definitely have to find those guys in the corner. Number two is going to be guard without fouling. The Bulls are a great free throw shooting team. They're second in the league at 81% as a team, but they're 20th in the league in attempts. So the Bulls or the Kings just need to make sure they don't pick up any stupid fouls early on in the game that could get the Bulls in the penalty early. And then number three is, we don't know if Sabonis will play in this game or not. Hopefully he does. The idea is that he will. So Sabonis versus Vucevic is a big-time matchup. Two centers that are averaging very near identical numbers this season. Sabonis, 18.6 points per game, 12.2 rebounds, 5.2 assists. Vucevic, 18 points a game, 11.4 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Vucevic and Sabonis, I think, are both in the top 5 in the league in double-doubles. So it's a very important matchup who wins that battle down low.
Two players the Kings were targeting as they were targeting Vucevic in free agency just a few years ago. So Monday against the Bulls, Wednesday at home against the Bucks. Then we have the Celtics, the Suns before we head back on the road. So 4 home games here coming up. We'll see if the Kings can get some momentum here. It is a lot of tough games. All 4 of these teams are above 500. They are all in the playoffs. And I would say probably the top 2, if not 3, title contenders this season the Kings are playing in 1 week of action. Yeah. So that's rough. And then they head on a road trip against the Pacers and the Magic. So games do get a little bit easier. But these next 4 games could completely take the Kings out of it if you don't feel like the Kings are already out of it already. Want to let you guys know there will be no Royal Report this week or next week as Calvin and I will be traveling. However, we will either be pregame or postgame for every single one of these games. So just keep an eye out for that. We will have it posted ahead of time, so you will get a notification if you hit the notification bell on our channel. If you have not done that, make sure you do that. If you have not subscribed to this channel and you are a Kings fan, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you all so much for joining us for another Royal Rebounds podcast. Calvin, anything else you want to say?
Vegas, baby. We'll see you in Vegas.
Vegas. If you guys want us to place any bets for you, just let us know. You know I'm betting on the Kings. But you guys have a wonderful night. Smash up that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. And in the meantime, go Kings.